here. Yeah, so, it's interesting. I think I always, I say this every time, I always like to have open conversations, have everything up for discussion. The interesting thing is always, I was looking at some of my notes I wasn't able to get to at the last team meeting in Calabasas. And I was looking at it, the notes, and we were going to talk about the economy a little bit, so on and so forth. And it seems like even just from last Tuesday, right, to today, which is just a little over a week, right, that maybe even things in the news back then, I know we don't want to pay attention to the news, we create our own narrative. However, we also want to be mindful of what's happening right now, right? None of us can predict what's happening in the future. All we can do is take care of us today and work, and like I said, be mindful of stuff. And it's interesting, like what I was talking about, or what my notes last week were: global CEOs see a mild and short recession, yet optimistic about global economy over 3-year horizon. And then more than 8 out of 10 anticipate a recession over the next 12 months, with more than half expecting it to be mild and short, right? So I like that narrative, right? Let's have it be mild and short. And it can be really, it just all depends on how we want to determine and what our narrative is of that. And we've kind of been talking about all of that, this week. What is your plan of action for the remainder of the year? You can only control what you can control, right? So are you going to put the time in to be able to maintain and or grow your business over 2023? Are you going to put the time in to finish off 2022 strong and start 2023 with a bang? So when it comes time to this, like I was talking to some people yesterday, it kind of feels like, remember what in July when it kind of like stopped for a second and people were on the fence, and it kind of feels like that right now, with the Fed hike again that we had. But at the end of the day, guys and gals, there are people buying and selling. Yep. There are people always buying and selling. So are you going to be the ones that find those motivated? Because remember in the Ignite book, or not Ignite, Shift, right? It says, find the motivated. So you may need to talk to more people, right? If you're currently talking to 20 people a day, you may need to talk to 40 people a day or 50 people today to find the same amount of motivated people to keep your business going. And it's all about building that momentum. And you can build that momentum whether you're in, no matter what kind of market you're in, what kind of economy that we have, so on and so forth, because there's always people that have to buy and sell. So what is your mindset around that? What is your willingness around that? What is your discipline around that? So at the same time as you're working hard, putting the contacts in, being efficient in your day, also, right, be mindful of your finances, be mindful of your budget, be mindful of your spending, right, to be able to weather whatever comes our way. And that, and that's regardless of what the market is. Right? Yeah, the market tough in 2022, 2021, into 2021, during 2021 and in 2022, right? It was, but it's a different kind of difficult, if you will, right? How many people were writing a gazillion offers and never got it accepted?
Oh yeah. On your note, Monica sent me a text: wherever you go, you are. Yeah. Right. So when the market was on fire, there were people killing it, and there are people who weren't killing it. Now the market's on a different kind. It's still on fire, right? No doubt about it. It's still on fire in different lights, and yet the same people who weren't killing it aren't killing it, and the people who were killing it are still killing it, right? It doesn't matter what the market is. It's that person. It's the individual, right? We have moments of defeat, and those moments of defeat could turn into an experience of triumph, right? Or those moments of defeat could lead to a downward spiral, right? We get to choose like how we approach that, and whether it's, hey, I'm not going to let this define me. I'm going to let it allow me to evolve and change and grow and have my plus ones every day, and that incremental growth. Like, yeah, I'm going to fail forward. I'm going to fail through this stuff because this is new, or hey, I'm not trusting of what's being taught to me. But either way, you're learning, right? You're going to either learn through failure in your own experience, or you're going to learn through learning from someone else's failures and gaining wisdom. Now you can kind of collapse timeframes, you know. But it's a powerful thought, because you know we made our changes with our team, with our mindset, with our approach, with our costs, with our conversations. And I feel the last 8 years of real estate experience have kind of made us for this turn in the market, right? And then the years before that's a whole different story. But the 18 years leading up to this, you know, we got to change that narrative in our head. Like, look at our adult life till now. You know, Jim Rohn used to say, you know, he's 70, his dad gets this idea, and Jim Rohn's a younger man, and his dad says, wow, I get this new idea, and I get to invest 70 years into this idea, right? As opposed to, oh, I'm too old for this idea, and I don't have the youthful mind. It's no, all this life has happened, I get to invest it, and I get to grow with it faster, right? So regardless of how long you've been in real estate, like Monty's been an agent for maybe a year or two, but he has 50 years of business experience, right? And he gets to pour it into it. I don't know everyone's story, but Christine, you know, raised her family, different things, and now she's pouring it into real estate. I heard Monty.
Yeah, what were we gonna say, Monty?
I was say that I didn't start at age 4, so I don't have 50 years of experience yet. But yes, the point is very clear. The point is very clear. Yes, whatever you learn all these years, everything you can bring to that conversation that you have with the client. So any one meeting can have 50 years of experience behind it. So that's the key, right? So good point. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I mean, you don't have to feel like a 10-year vet. I mean, we ran through a stat earlier this week. NAR says that the average $100,000 earner in real estate nationwide has 16 years of real estate experience. And the key to that is just collapse timeframes, right? It didn't take us 16 years to make our first 100 grand. We failed forward and made 100 grand in year 3, right? A little over 150 and maintained it, and then grew it even more. But that was because we were hungry, we were poor, hungry, and driven, PhD, right? And hungry in a sense of humble, like, okay, we don't know all the answers. We have experience, but we're going to be open to learning. We're going to be open to, hey, that's a great idea. It may apply, may not apply, right? Being adults about what's being told to us and what we're seeking out. But we sought knowledge. You know, I've attended Ignite, I think, like 30 something times, either as a teacher or as a student. And even as a teacher, I was still a student. And Bowl, I've done 8 or 9 times. So there's always this opportunity to grow yourself through that process, right? And constantly seeking that knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's just really important. It's important no matter, like we were talking about, no matter what's happening in life, no matter what's happening in the market, no matter, you know, just no matter what, it's always important to keep your mind in the abundance thinking, right? Because it's really hard to all of a sudden go to lack. And when they talk about, there's this book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, right? It's keep your mind in abundance thinking. And the discipline number 1 that they talk about is focus on the wildly important, right? Focus on the wildly important. And then if we want to put it in Gary Keller words, the one thing, right? Just focusing on the one thing. Have specific finish lines, right? It's defining the greater goal. So that's our 411 that we talk about. You know, and remember, we have our business planning clinic coming up on the 16th. So it's about defining that greater goal. And then on discipline number 2, it's act on the lead measures, right? Applying that energy to the activities that you need to do, right? And then it just all comes, you know, but it all starts with the mindset. How do I feel about these my greater goal? How do I feel about these activities? Just like Gary Keller had said in, I can't even remember which thing, it doesn't matter. I can't remember where I saw him say this, but he said, you have to be comfortable with lead generation.
Yeah,
You have to be comfortable with it. Go ahead, Philip.
Oh, I was saying, he said, I got to a point where I became at peace with lead generation. I want to go make $1 million a year. That path is through lead generation. You know, I want to delegate my business to 7th level. You know, at some point I need to go through lead generation. I want to make $50,000. I want to make $5,000. The path is lead generation, building relationships, making those contacts, touching base. And it doesn't have to be all day, right? I mean, we time blocked it with return calls and everything down to 3.5, 4 hours a day spread across 30-minute intervals for return calls and stuff like that, plus the actual generating leads. And I still think there's more room for us to optimize and grow. So, yeah, that's an excellent point that you're making.
Yeah, because it's just part of it, and allow the momentum to take place. You know, we talked about that this week too. Allow the momentum to take place. Don't stop 3 feet from gold. You just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And discipline number 3 is keep a compelling scoreboard. Make sure you know the score at all times so you can tell whether you are winning or not. This is the discipline of engagement. Have it visual at all times, know where you are, know the numbers. And how many times do you hear us talk about know your numbers, right? It's all about running your business. Christine, where's your sign? Where are your numbers? I know you have them up all the time. Woohoo!
And this year, hi, good morning. And this year I did it with color coordinating for quarter, because it was, you know, I hadn't done that before. And so this was, you know, opening my eyes to what am I doing each quarter and moving towards the next quarter. So, you know, I'm happy right now. I had something in each quarter and I'm still moving forward. So that's my thing this year. Yay, there it is. So, yeah.
Yep. That's awesome. So yeah, so you just, however you track it, you just have to track it, right? So you know your numbers. Like they said, you know whether you're winning or not. I mean, just like in you know, I always go back to sports. In sports, like we had 2 games last night. There was Thursday night football, and then there were the World Series. So it's like, what do I watch? But obviously that is in front of them at all times, but they know their numbers. Okay, they know this, they know the stats, they know the analytics. I mean, sports is all about analytics, especially football. But you know, they know whether they're winning or not based on the numbers. So however you need to put it in your brain or in, you know, how you look at things, it's a scoreboard, right? Make it a game for yourself. Like, okay, like Christine is like, okay, am I winning this quarter? Right? Am I winning this quarter so I can have, because there's 4 quarters in, you know, 4 quarters in a football game. So 4 quarters in a year, right? Okay, what's the score? What is my score at the end of this? So it's really keep a compelling scoreboard. And then go ahead.
You know, I was just going to say one thing about that, you know, which if you don't see it, well, for me, if I don't see it visually like that, I may know numbers, I may know how many things, but you may not be able to track, like saying I'm getting better or I did more than last year, like if that makes sense. So when I'm looking at it, as far as units, I have less units, volume. Like there's more, like I was looking at, okay, how many things did I do like last year, but where's my volume? My volume is equal, you know, like higher volume, I guess, items. I had a lot of leases last year, which this year was more buyers. So, you know, you kind of look at it. So that's another way to see your growth. Because if I was all about numbers, you know, for unit numbers, like crossing off the things. But now this year I was like, okay, quarterly, let me see dollar amounts more tracking like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because there's different ways that you can track, right? You can track units, you can track volume, you can track gross commission income, etc. So it's whatever works for you. I do I'll just say this as a cover. I do want you all to track units. One, because so you can give yourself a raise by your increasing your volume, which you have done, Christine, an amazing job of. So if you keep track of the units and try to do the same amount of units, right, then, and your volume increases, then you will have, you know, double what you did last year, if that makes sense. Because if we continue to focus on our units, right, then we will continue to grow our GCI, our income year over year, right? And then you can even increase it, give yourself a raise by increasing your price point, right? Because sometimes if we start focusing on volume, then sometimes our unit count decreases and then we stay the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I guess my thing is, when you said that, my first thing is track everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
you really
sure.
need to track everything. But you know, there is something about checking, like I color in the square when I did it. So I'm like, oh yeah. So the units is important, because then they're like, oh, I did this. But I'm just saying is, you know, I hadn't done it that way quarterly last time. And I mean, I could have broke it down, but this is a very visual. I didn't break it down like that last time. So
no,
yeah.
I think that's amazing. And I think it's easier. It's not as overwhelming, and then you're able to see your progress if you are stopping and reflecting every single quarter, right? So you understand what your thing is. So I think what you did is absolutely perfect, and it gives you a you know, just it's a measure stick. Is that right word? I don't know. But you're measuring appropriately. And if we don't stop and reflect throughout the year, then we all of a sudden we get to the fourth quarter and we're like, oh my gosh, then we're trying to make up for what we didn't do earlier. So great job. Philip, were you gonna say something?
No, I was trying to pull a picture from Facebook. It's the 4 conversations. And if you boil down like the scoreboard, and again, every time there's like a weird sense of, oh, it's KW, that's a KW thing. Well, damn it, we're in KW. We should probably leverage the KW talk, right? Because everyone's always chasing these different things. And, oh, I got this great idea from someplace. Awesome, run with it. But I put in the chat, appointments on, listings taken, your wall of value, your constant add-on to what you're producing for yourself, investing in yourself and your business. That's all that learning. Close units and profit. And one of the difficulties I had with this was profit, right? I kept looking at the GCI number and not looking at expenses and what we were actually netting at the back end. Like, I knew we netted money, obviously we're paying our bills and saving money, but then being more purposeful on that space. Because we can get caught up in, I mean, there's so many things to track, right? I mean, if you've ever printed out your trend track, KW tracks like 50 different things, right? Appointments on, if you're tracking that through the daily 10-4, it tracks your closed volume, it tracks your open listing volume, open units, it tracks what didn't close, it tracks what closed. But if you boil it down to 4 and all you could do was manage 4 things at the end of the day or the start of the day, you can easily look at the listing appointments you were on, the listings that you took, how did you grow today, your closed units and profit, right? Like, hey, I made a $25,000 GCI commission after all my splits and my royalty and all this stuff, and the cost of me, you know, paying for marketing and signs and closing the deal and all this stuff, I really made $11,000. Awesome. So the top is written off. Now I can say, great, I'm going to apply my taxes. I really took home $6,000, right? And so now there's a business maturity to that. And I think if a lot of people, they catch on to it early and they start when the amounts are small, like Jim Rohn would say, you can really build an amazing type of income instead of trying to figure it out when, you know, at this point, it's great problem to have. I'm just throwing that out there as kind of a foresight for those of you guys who will really pursue this and go make $500,000 next year and finish this year strong. You know, take that to heart, because you guys are about to crush it. You guys are making the commitment to be here on this call. And this isn't to like motivate anybody, but if you guys are here, that means you're serious. That means you are motivated. You are looking for the answers, and you're looking for high quality questions that your brain can go to work on. and achieve those goals. So kudos to you guys. Just love to keep things simple. Yeah, tons of metrics. Got myself kind of confused on creating my own little spreadsheet, but these are the 4 to certainly keep tabs on. And you say, well, I work mainly with buyers. Awesome, right? Count listings as BREs taken if that's going to be your true focus, because there's a different skill set that I'm learning, that your mindset around listings and buyers, it really is hard to switch tasks. Like you listen, but at some point we got to choose which path we're going to go down on. So hopefully that helps people. And I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to see if you guys can click that link. It should take you to Facebook, I believe, or Keller Williams. Oh no, it just takes you to the app. Never mind. Sorry guys. Disregard the thing I just sent. It didn't send what exactly I thought it was going to be. My bad.
Hey, one more thing, with the recession coming and whatnot, and the transaction slowing down and stuff like that, this may be a chance to look at other things, like look beyond the obvious, right? In real estate has a lot of different components. One of them is buying and selling homes as an agent, but there's so many other components to it. So maybe we can expand our horizons and do some homework, develop some skills, get into some new areas, because this is the time when everything is slowing down, not just the basic agent stuff that we do. So even if we get into some new areas, maybe a good chance to develop the knowledge and skills, and maybe get some certification if we need to, like get the broker's license if you're eligible, if you have the 2 years. I'm going to get mine next year in April. Things like that. I mean, even in commercial, I'm seeing like hotel transactions have slowed down, but then now is the time for me to call all the 800 hotels, right? Instead of just calling the 5. So it's a time to expand. I always stress multiple streams of income, because if you're just having one stream of income, it's a problem. I have learned so many things from real estate and applied it to consulting, and I'm crushing it on the consulting side right now. I've picked up new clients and lots of new revenue coming in. So my point is, every challenge is an opportunity to do something else. Do like expand your horizons, right? That's something to think about.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Monty. Yeah, this other, I just want to bring in this other discipline where it says create a cadence of accountability, right? So it's about being accountable to yourself and accountable to others, right? I know a lot of you hear me say, be okay with the chaos. It was funny in this particular book, it says what's difficult and rare is the ability to achieve a critical goal while living in the midst of a raging whirlwind. I thought that was funny. It goes, and it is even more difficult when achieving the goal requires changing the behaviors of a lot of people, right? So it's, as you build a team, or as you're working with, clients and so on and so forth. And remember, whether you're a solo agent or not, you still have a team, right? You still have a team of everybody that helps you achieve that goal. Your escrow, your title, your inspector, all your inspectors, the office, everybody. And sometimes achieving that goal requires, bringing people into your way of thinking, your way of doing business, your standards that you set. But really it's, like I said, your ability to achieve a critical goal while living in the midst of a raging whirlwind, which is life, right? So if you're just okay with the chaos, or you're okay with the raging whirlwind as you are pushing through your goals, because there are always obstacles. So it all depends on how you look at them, at these obstacles. I just put something, what did I put here? I put in focus on the outcome, right? Not the obstacle. So when obstacles hit, just look through that to what your end goal is, right? And the obstacle will always, you either go around it, you go over it, you go through it, whatever the case may be. But if you're continually focusing on whatever that obstacle happens to be, which maybe right now a lot of us are focusing on the economy. Hey, the economy is always going to be what the economy is going to be. right? So we focus on the goal and not that obstacle. We find the workaround, if you will. Yeah, so basically what is, what are you focused on? The different disciplines bring focus, clarity, and engagement, which are powerful and necessary elements for your success. And then with the accountability, you and your team, right, ensure that the goal is achieved no matter what is happening around you. Right, no matter what the storm happens to be on. So who's holding you accountable, allow the momentum to take place and have accountability measures in place. And then put that plan in action. Thoughts? Questions?
Just be you. Just do you. Basically, just do you. Forget all that. Because at first when you said that, I'm like, I thrive in chaos. I like it. That works for me.
Yep.
I was gonna say,
I know we would be bored otherwise, right?
I was gonna say, be humble. Like, hey, this is even though I did say like, hey, take all these years of experience and invest it, that portion of it is keeping a humble mind and heart about, hey, this is where we need to submit. And I'm not saying that in a slave way or anything like that, right? It's, hey, there's people that lived before us, like this is right out of the MREA. There's people who lived before us that have done this, and you can get so much further, like Monica would remind me, standing on the shoulders of giants, right? I think we really could have gotten here much quicker if we trusted early on, right? Trusted the mentors, and I'm not like promoting mentors or teams or anything like that, but find that space for you where you feel like, hey, this is an opportunity for me to trust again and invest in relationships and those masterminds or whatever it is that will get you there, right? Like we stayed at a certain cap until we invested in coaching, and then coaching took us like way over the top, right? And we could have invested in coaching in year 3 or even year 2, instead of investing in year 5, right? And my point in that is that, hey, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was going to all these classes, all these networks. I'm mentoring with different agents, but there's a difference of dialing down into one thing, right? And dialing down into one thing will make you a fortune. And not to take away from what Monty's saying, and all of us are different. I knew when I was chasing so many different things, I was really terrible at all of them, right? When I dialed in and said, hey, I'm not going to focus on being a team leader. I'm not going to focus on commercial real estate. I'm not going to focus on volunteering all my discretionary time into nonprofit work. I'm not going to focus myself on my mom's businesses. I'm going to focus on being a realtor. I'm going to sell houses. I'm going to do it through our sphere of influence, and I'm going to do it through KW Command. Our business took off. Pandemic happened, no factor. We adjusted, we grew. Interest rates dropped, no factor, we grew. Competitive market, we grew. Through a tumultuous time, we still grow. And one thing that one of the coaches really stuck in my head is that you earn the right to do the next things. Philip, you want an assistant? You earn the right, right? You build your business up, you build your pipeline up to where you can invest in a virtual assistant. You want a part-time operations director? You earn the right through building your business. You want to buy another house or have a full-time team? You earn the right through growing your pipeline, your lead gen, right? You want to buy another house, but invest in income and properties. You grow your profit, you cut down on your expenses, and you save the money because you're earning the right into those spaces. So again, there's opportunities out there. You can invest in crypto and just different things, whatever is out there catching your attention. But know that we're athletes, we're like NBA players or NFL players. They don't get to invest in real estate and get the rewards without killing it and making the team and earning that big ass salary and bonuses in order to invest in all the outside stuff. Sorry, I'm just going on a weird thing, but I really want people to kind of get that
actually,
in their minds too.
Yeah. Sorry, I want to just add to that. So, Philip, you have a great point on the right to do things, right? My point is, no matter what you earn from wherever you earn, it all needs to get back to real estate. So, because real estate is the best vehicle for long-term wealth, right? So, no matter what you do, whatever money you save, that needs to get back into real estate. That's really the way to earn wealth, right? And so that's been my goal, that no matter what I'm earning, wherever it's coming from, it goes back into real estate. And buy properties, hold on to it, and so on, right?
Oh, you're crushing it, Monty. You're like the poster child for like this, growing entrepreneurship and businesses. I really, selfishly, I'd love to like work to where you're at. Grow us together, growing. I can say together, Monica and I and our team growing, what we're doing and all that fun stuff. And then create other entities that benefit our clients and benefit realtors all around and entrepreneurs. And I know we get there by just dominating the market, right? Like just absolutely being the absolute best resource and consultant for our clients. And if that was our one thing, that dang thing pays us so well, right? I don't care if you're on a 50-50 split, as long as there's like a value exchange, you're making a ton compared to digging ditches and working at Starbucks, right? So there's so much opportunity here. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. So like real estate, you get $250 an hour. That's what we make. And in most of the other professions, people don't make that. Maybe as a doctor, you do make it. But other than that, we are making the maximum hourly rate. So we should be the best and dominate. And the dominate thing is a very important theme. Maybe one of our meetings should be talking about dominate, because we always talk about participate, not dominate. We should talk about dominate as being the culture. So maybe one of the meetings we can talk about that. And Philip, you're a great example of, we need to dominate, right?
Yeah, heck yeah. Monica will probably laugh. I just dropped something in the chat. But no, you're 100% right. There's a mindset to dominating, and it's not like crushing some top, quote unquote, top producer. Biggest quote that I got the last few weeks was that the new kings and queens of real estate will be crowned this time next year, right?
Yes.
Monica, Stephanie, Monty, Cyrene, Bruce, Christine Wheeler, Jasmine, Jessica, Chiquita, who was on here, iPhone, not sure who you are, myself, there's an opportunity here that, hasn't been seen, right? You crushed it in 2008 through 2014 if you had relationships with the banks, right? You crushed it from 2015 to 2018 if you worked expired notice of defaults for sale by owners. 19 through 22, you crushed it by relationships, right? Events, being popular on social media. Now I really feel you can take all that stuff, maybe not so much the NOV stuff, through bank relationships, but even that, the key is relationships. And we're all people. We all got married, or we were in relationships. We have kids. We, just all this different life. And man, together, there's nothing we can't achieve, right? And it's just a matter of what Stephanie constantly reminds us of. It's mindset, that attitude around that, and then the activities you take. And then these four, man, forget it. We can choose to dominate, or we can choose to take a step back. And now I don't know about you guys, but hey, we can. I love making money, right? I love being able to take my kids out. I love being able not to worry about the bills. I love the opportunities that real estate provides. Let's do more of it. It's not about just the dollars. It's, hey, we have the keys of the kingdom. Stephanie said all they need to do is, oh my God, I want to cry, because this is unbelievable. It's unprecedented how simple this is right now. Just unbelievable the opportunity we have at this point.
How did that happen? Okay, hold on.
Oh, sorry, that was me. I put you on spotlight.
Yeah. No, thank you, Philip, for all your leadership and your inspiration always on a daily basis. And we do have an incredible opportunity, and I thank each and every one of you for being a part of our family and our support group, because we all provide the support for one another, right? No matter what position that we're in, we have a tremendous amount of support, love, and inspiration, motivation for each other. I mean, you guys inspire me on a daily basis, and it's pretty, I am in deep gratitude for that always. All right, so we need to jam off of here. So thank you all, and appreciate and love each and every one of you. Have a powerful and positive Friday, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you,
That's awesome.
Stephanie.
Yeah,
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.